Welcome to Awaken Sovereignty, a solo cast on ascension, shadow work, empowerment, and alignment with your highest purpose. I'm Chris Pinckley, spiritual coach and guide for those moving through deep awakening, transformation, and personal evolution. Let's begin. How your relationship affects your money as an entrepreneur. Now, I wanted to create a sort of an extended title as an entrepreneur. Really, this is anybody. This can apply or be applicable to any person. Your relationship, your personal, intimate partnership with your significant other has a dramatic impact on your ability to create your reality and your ability to generate finance. But more so if you are a business owner or an entrepreneur. And this is because when you're in a kind of a 9-to-5 type situation and working for a company, a larger company, your significant other is not going to impact that as much because your finance is bolstered by the co-creative of the company. So outside energies don't impact it as much. Of course, as soon as you go home, the way that you spend your money is impacted by your partnership, right? But as far as the earning and creating of the money, that is not as impacted nearly as much as if you are a business owner. You have a service, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're an artist. If you are somebody who creates your own business through your art, or some sort of content, or a service, or you're running a business, or you're an entrepreneur, you're building multiple businesses. Your ability to generate finance is more closely impacted by your personal relationship. And then the primary reason for this is there isn't this whole company and all these, tens or hundreds or thousands of individuals that bolster the energy with the security of the job. I mean, job security is a relative term that we could talk about that in another episode, but it's your energy that's generating all of it. So what this means is that you have to be more responsible with your energy. It takes more energy, and you have to be always mindful of where your energy is. Now, if you were in a stressful situation where you have an unresolved issue with your significant other, right? Or you are in a kind of codependent relationship and you're having trouble expanding because of the limitations of the codependencies that you sort of project onto each other. Or you might be in a relationship that you don't know that is right for you. All of these things and any sort of unresolved issues or tensions or codependencies or projections onto each other of unmet needs or behaviors that don't support, a healthy co-creation or harmonious co-creation between two people. All of these things directly affect and impact your ability to generate finance, to, generate your economy, to make money if you work for yourself. Essentially, I mean, that's the short end of it. Because you have to really monitor your energy. You have to really take full ownership of your energy if you work for yourself. And that means in order to attract business, that your energy has to be in a positive state. You have to be in an expansive, positive, kind of buoyant state in order to generate business for yourself. And whatever that may look like, whether it's more copies of your book sold, your artwork, or whether it's more clients for your massage practice, or whether it's new business for one of your businesses that you built as an entrepreneur. Whether it's a business that you own and run yourself, or whether it's something you built to have other people run for you. Either way, your energy directly impacts the success of the business, and therefore you need to keep your energy clean and pure. And this means that you must, if you're in a relationship, then you must have a co-creative, harmonious relationship in order to be able to realize or actualize the success that you want. Otherwise, it'll never be as successful as it could be. And this is because that whatever unresolved or issues or tensions or projections or behaviors that don't support in your relationship, you're spending the majority of your home time with this individual and you're sharing energy with them. So your energy becomes vulnerable to whatever unhealed issue that they bring, or theirs vice versa, that theirs becomes vulnerable to whatever unhealed issues you bring. So what's the number one thing, the number one tool to get you and your partner on the right page so that you can optimally, you can function at your highest, the most optimal outcome for your business? And that is communication. Being open and willing to communicate about anything and everything. Communication is the key. Being able to talk about things that are uncomfortable, never brushing a single thing under the rug, always getting to the bottom of everything. It doesn't matter right or wrong, just getting it out, airing it out, and allowing for there to be a release of that pressure and, looking at the uncomfortable issues and topics within the relationship. I tell you right now that if you're in a relationship and you're an entrepreneur, which is highly likely, a lot of people that work for themselves listen to my podcast, and there are unresolved issues in that relationship, at some level, it's at the very least, it's constricting your success, if not outright blocking it. You've got to be able to communicate, have a conversation with them, sit down and talk with them about things. Each of you should have your own boundaries, right? It doesn't mean you're pushing your partner out into the cold, but it does mean that there are certain boundaries around, your time and energy for, working on your business, being able to do all the things within the parameters of the business without any sort of distraction. And at the same time, you're not trying to be, cold and impersonal with your partner. This is, you want to be inclusive with them and include them on your journey, but not the unhealed aspects that they may or may not be projecting onto you, or you them, right? Vice versa. This is a similar concept as to another episode that I'm going to do, which is how one thing affects everything. But this is more a focus on the relationship. And it's just really so true. I've seen it time and time again where, many of the coaching clients that have come to me over the years simply had just the one correction to do, which is, just have a sit down and have a talk with their partner about whatever the issue is. And afterwards, it's almost always the boat just starts to right itself and new business comes in and things get better. That is the power of having a fully healed, fully integrated, transparent relationship with your partner, is that it reflects as more money, more business, more finance, more economy, more products sold, more customers, more consumers, more demand, just bigger things happening for you. Once you get everything above board, you have the communication, you set the precedent for communicating about anything, never brushing anything under the rug, and always being transparent. Once that happens, man, you're going to see a total change in your reality, guaranteed. Right? So that'll do it for this episode. As per always, take good care, and we'll talk to you soon. If this episode resonated with what you're moving through, and you're interested in private spiritual coaching around awakening, emotional integration, shadow work, relationships, boundaries, or building a soul-led life and business, email me directly at rc101coaching@gmail.com with the word coaching in the subject line. You can also find the contact link in the show notes. Follow Awaken Sovereignty for future episodes and share this with someone moving through their own awakening. This is Chris Pinckley. Stay awake, stay aligned, stay sovereign.